Hello friends, myself Professor Khyati Gupta. Today in this video lecture we will see about anti-anginal drugs. What is angina pectoris? Angina pectoris in the common sense we can say a chest pain, right? Angina pectoris is a pain syndrome due to induction of an adverse oxygen supply or demand situation in a portion of myocardium. Okay, so when we need more oxygen and the oxygen supply is less, chest pain occurs, right? And this chest pain is called angina pectoris. Mainly two principal forms are recognized of angina pectoris. First is classical angina, it is the common form, and second is variant or Prinzmental angina, which is an uncommon form. So in classical angina, attacks are predictably provoked by exercise, emotion, eating or conscious and subside when the increased energy demand is withdrawn, right? So when you are doing any type of exercise, your body need more oxygen, right? And when the supply does not fulfill the demand of oxygen of your body, the chest pain occurs. It is classical form of angina pectoris, right? But when you discontinue the exercise, okay, your body the oxygen demand will be decreased, right? And the oxygen supply is equal to your body's oxygen demand, and chest pain is also discontinued, right? So this is the form of classical angina. Second is variant or Prinzmental angina. Attacks occur at rest or during sleep and are unpredictable. Okay, they are due to recurrent localized coronary vasospasm which may be superimposed on arteriosclerotic coronary artery disease, right? So variant or Prinzmental angina occurs when your coronary artery is like blocked, okay? Your cholesterol is accumulated on the periphery of your coronary artery, right? Then the diameter of coronary artery will be decreased, okay? And it cannot flow blood normally, right? So blood flow that reaches to heart will be less, and the oxygen that reaches through that blood to the heart will be less, right? So heart's oxygen demand is not fulfilled by oxygen supply through blood, right? And then angina attack can occur, right? And this form of angina is called variant or Prinzmental angina. Okay, next, coronary vasospasm can also be a cause of variant or Prinzmental angina, right? See in this figure, first it is a normal coronary artery. Okay, when rest its diameter is reduced, okay, and when you are doing any type of exercise, the diameter of artery will be increased because heart needs more oxygen, so diameter of coronary artery will increase. Okay, next, in second figure you can see classical angina, right? In classical angina it is atheroma, okay, which is accumulated, as I talked to you. Then cholesterol or lipid is accumulated on the periphery or wall of that blood vessel, and the diameter of that blood vessel will be decreased. Okay, so flow cannot be increased and cannot fulfill the oxygen demand of heart. Okay, and third is variant angina, where vasospasm occurs, and due to that vasospasm the diameter of that coronary artery that reaches to heart and flowing blood, oxygenated blood, right, its diameter will be decreased, right, and the oxygen demand cannot be fulfilled. Okay, now classification of anti-anginal drugs, right? There are many class of anti-anginal drugs. In that, first class is nitrates, okay, and that can be classified into further two class. In that, first is short acting nitrates and second is long acting nitrates. In short acting nitrates, the mainly used drug is glyceryl trinitrate, and long acting nitrates, There are isosorbide dinitrite, isosorbide trinitrite. Okay. Second class is beta blockers. For example, propranolol and metoprolol. Third is calcium channel blockers. In that, further it is classified into phenylalkylamine, benzothiazepine, dihydropyridines. Okay. In that phenylalkylamine, the example is verapamil, benzothiazepine, example is diltiazem, and dihydropyridines, example is nifedipine and felodipine. Fourth class is potassium channel openers. In that, nicorandil and other anti-anginal drugs are dipyridamole and trimetazidine. Okay, so these are the anti-anginal drugs. In that, first we see nitrates. In that, glycerol trinitrate is a principal drug. Okay, mechanism of action of nitrates. Organic nitrates are rapidly denitrated enzymatically in the smooth muscle cell to release the reactive free radical nitric oxide, which activates cytosolic guanylyl cyclase, which increase cGMP and causes dephosphorylation of myosin light chain kinase through a cGMP dependent protein kinase. Reduced availability of phosphorylated myosin light chain kinase interferes with activation of myosin, so it fails to interact with actin to cause contraction, right? Consequently, relaxation occurs. Raised intracellular cGMP may also reduce calcium entry, contributing to relaxation. See in this figure, right? As we have seen that organic nitrates are first converted into nitric oxide, right? And this nitric oxide activates cGMP. Okay, this cGMP will do dephosphorylation of myosin light chain kinase through a cGMP dependent protein kinase. See here, this cGMP will inhibit myosin light chain kinase. Okay, and this myosin light chain kinase will not interact with actin, right? If myosin light chain kinase is phosphorylated, then it will interact with actin. Okay, and this myosin and actin protein will sleep on each other and will do muscle contraction. But here, if we administer glycerol trinitrate, right, it will convert into nitric oxide, and this nitric oxide will produce or convert GTP into cGMP. Okay, and this cGMP will dephosphorylate myosin light chain kinase. Okay, and because it is dephosphorylated, it will not interact with actin and contraction will not occur. Okay, same way it will inhibit calcium channel. Okay, because if calcium, that is extracellular calcium, enters into the cell, it will release this stored calcium into cytosol, and this increased concentration of calcium is also cause of muscle contraction. Okay, because it stimulates myosin and actin interaction. Okay, so calcium channel blockers that will block calcium channel and will inhibit entry of calcium channel into the cell. Okay, and therefore this smooth muscle will not contract, right? And this relaxation occurs. This will resolve vasospasm as well as is helpful in chest pain, or you can say angina pectoris, right? Pharmacokinetics of nitrates. Organic nitrates are lipid soluble, well absorbed from buccal mucosa, intestines and skin. Okay, therefore organic nitrates are given in the form of sublingual tablets, as well as they can be delivered by transdermal patches. Okay, because they are absorbed from buccal mucosa and skin. Okay, Glycerol trinitrate and isosorbide dinitrate are both short acting from sublingual but longer acting from oral route. Okay. Next is adverse effects. These are mostly due to vasodilation, right? These nitrates are doing vasodilation. Okay. Therefore, some adverse effects are there. That is fullness in head, throbbing headache, some degree of tolerance develops on continued use. Flushing, weakness, sweating, palpitation, dizziness and fainting. These are mitigated by lying down, okay? And erect posture and alcohol attenuate these symptoms. Therefore, alcohol consumption is prohibited while using nitrates. Next is methemoglobinemia. Is not significant with clinically used doses. However, in severe anemia, this can further reduce oxygen carrying capacity of blood. Okay, so in anemia patient, if we are using nitrates, methemoglobinemia can occur. Rashes are rare, though relatively more common with pentaerythritol tetranitrate. Right? Use of nitrates. First is, of course, angina pectoris. Second is acute coronary syndromes. Third is myocardial infarction. Then cardiac heart failure and acute left ventricular failure. Biliary colic, esophageal spasm, cyanide poisoning, etc. Next class of drug is beta blockers. Okay, the name suggests beta blockers, that the drugs that blocks beta receptors that are present on heart, right? That drugs are called beta blockers. Beta receptors are responsible for vasoconstriction. See, these drugs act by reducing cardiac work and oxygen consumption as a consequence of decreased heart rate, inotropic state and mean blood pressure. This is marginal at rest. More importantly, beta blockers limit increase in cardiac work that occurs during exercise or anxiety by anti-adrenergic action on heart, right? So, beta blockers, beta receptors that are responsible for increasing heart rate or inotropic state and blood pressure. If we block these receptors, the decrement in that conditions will be there, right? All beta blockers are nearly equally effective in decreasing frequency and severity of attacks and in increasing exercise tolerance in classical angina, but cardioselective agents are preferred over non-selective blockers, right? All beta blockers are effective for angina pectoris, but if we choose cardioselective agents, the adverse effect of non-selective beta blockers will be less. Next is calcium channel blockers. As we have seen in figure of mechanism of action of nitrates, right? If we block calcium channel, the extracellular calcium ion that enters to the cell will decrease, right? And if the extracellular calcium ion will not enter into the cell, the intracellular calciums that are stored in the vesicles of that cell, right, will not release, okay, and the concentration of calcium ion will be decreased into the cell, okay. And as I have told you that calcium ion concentration or increased you can say calcium ion concentration is responsible for myosin and actin interaction, right? So calcium channel blockers will block the calcium ion and the concentration of calcium ion intracellularly will be decreased. So myosin and actin cannot interact and smooth muscle cannot contract. Therefore, they are useful in the treatment of angina pectoris, right? These drugs inhibit L-type calcium channel in heart muscle. Calcium is the stimulator for the contraction of heart. If calcium channel is blocked, heart muscle will be relaxed and thus muscle spasm will relaxed, right? We have seen three types of calcium channel blocker in the classification, in which dihydropyridines are the most potent calcium channel blockers, okay. we have seen three types of calcium channel blockers like phenylalanine, then dihydropyridines, etc. Right? The two most important actions of calcium channel blockers are: first is smooth muscle relaxation, and second is negative chronotropic, inotropic, and bromotropic action on heart. Okay. Next is use of calcium channel blocker. In that, first, of course, it is calcium channel blocker. It is used in the angina pectoris. Next, it can be used in hypertension and cardiac arrhythmias also, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, and for premature labor and for leg cramps, calcium channel blockers can be used. Next class of anti-anginal drug is potassium channel openers. Here, mechanism of action: these drugs open potassium channels of cardiac muscle. Their most prominent action is hyperpolarization and relaxation of vascular as well as visceral smooth muscle, and thus will resolve cardiac muscle spasm. Okay, this drug will hyperpolarize or relax vascular smooth muscle and visceral smooth muscle. Okay, and therefore it will resolve cardiac muscle spasm and angina pectoris. Nicorandil is of this category and is used as anti-anginal drug. Side effects of nicorandil are flushing, palpitation, weakness, headache, dizziness, nausea and vomiting, large painful ulcers, mouth ulcers, right? Then which heal on stopping nicorandil have been reported, right? Thank you, friends. This is all about anti-anginal drugs.